Hey guys, Voltar here, and today I'm going to do a super, maybe 5-minute video on a subject that I'm often emailed about, and that's PS3 repairs. So this system is actually a slim model PS3 that Bob of Retro RG Alcoholic B sent me, and it appears that the NOR memory has corrupted. So I'm just going to show a quick technique that I use that you can use with very inexpensive tools to safely and properly work this NOR flash off of the board. And I'm also going to, reapply some thermal grease here too. So just sit back and let me take care of this, and I'll talk more about working this chip off the board so I can get a dump of it with a proper programmer. Let's do it. Okay, I'm just going to take an alcoholic, basically an alcohol-based wet nap. Just going to make some circular motions here to begin breaking this up. Okay, it's looking pretty good. Okay, so that GPU looks fairly satisfactory to me. Move over here to the CPU. Great. Okay, so I just quickly cleaned off the old residual thermal compound. Now let's look at this bad boy right here, and let's talk about how I like to work this off. This is a NOR flash memory module, and it is surface mount. I think this is a TSSOP 54 or TSSOP 56 package. So, I'll show you how I do this. It's extremely safe, and it's very fast, and it'll allow you to pop this chip off, stuff it in a programmer, dump it, right back to it, fix it, whatever you need to do. So let's zoom in and let's talk about it. Okay, so we zoomed up a little bit here into the NOR memory. Now I'm going to use hot air to work this package off of the board, and I'm only going to start. If you're new to working larger packages like this off with a proper rework station, I recommend starting off by just doing one side at a time, and then doing one side and then moving to the other side and lift each side individually. And once you get some practice, you can do this all in one failed swoop. But I'm going to show you how, if you're starting out, a good technique until you get the hang of it, then you can zip these off all in one pass. So we do have some electrolytic cans here that I want to protect, and if you don't have Kapton tape, which is totally understandable and fine, you can just use a little aluminum foil to kind of create a shield here. Just kind of work it in there. Great. Okay. So now I'm going to zoom in just a little bit more, and we're going to start with the hot air. Okay, so we're going to come in here with our hot air, and remember, we're just working with one side at a time right now. So we're just going to come in here with about 350 degrees heat, maybe about 2 inches above the package itself. And we're only working on the right side because we want to only lift the right side first, because we might be kind of new to this and we don't want to screw the whole thing up. So this is just a quick and easy method of extracting this package. So once we get some heat in there, we'll take a tool and we'll start seeing if we can lift this up. And it's not quite ready just yet. So we'll keep applying the heat. Nice and even motions. We're going to come back over here and we're going to see if we can lift. And there we go. That's it. Nice and easy. You're putting virtually no force on this. This might be like, I'm using my pinky to do this, but we've lifted this side and it's ready. So now we've got one side of the chip effectively worked off the board, and this is very, very safe. So as you can see, we can kind of, you know, bounce it a little bit. We don't want to pull it up. We just removed it from its pad landing. So let's work on the other side now. Okay, so we're going to come in on the left side, and it's the same principle and it's the same process. We're just applying that even distribution of heat at 350 degrees to the left side. And normally what I would do is I'd use a little IC suction apparatus to just lift this chip off, but I'm just trying to show you guys how you can use tools that you more than likely already have to safely do this. So once I get that heated, I'm going to put my tweezers on each side of this IC, and when it's ready to come up, we'll be able to lift it up. So we're still applying heat, still jamming heat into the thing. And I think it's about ready, and there she comes. Just like that. Turn off our hot air. And I hope you can see this, but that is a perfect, absolutely perfect pull on the both left and right side. You couldn't ask for that to go any cleaner, and the board is perfectly 100% safe. This is just a cheap DIY easy method of extracting fine-pitch TSSOP surface mount ICs when you're kind of on a budget, or you just don't have that equipment to do it. Hot air reworkstation, a multi-layer board like this that's good and thick, 350, maybe 360 degrees Celsius, around 50% airflow. You just slowly work it off, and really, it's really that simple, guys. I mean, we extracted this in no time flat. So now I'm going to dump Bob's NOR memory here with my programmer. I'm going to look at it, and I'm going to see if I can't patch it up, and then we'll rework this chip right on the board. So stay tuned. Okay, now the scope of this video isn't to show you how to read, dump memory, and write memory to this TSSOP. The point of the video is just to show you how you can use some really simple techniques to extract this chip safely with relatively inexpensive tools. So having said that, though, I do want to talk about reading and writing to a parallel NAND or a parallel NOR and NAND flash memory modules. So, I have no problem with people who want to use the clips that fit over the package and connect to a Teensy or something like that. So just in-circuit programming and reading, right? That is certainly an option. I don't understand why people still solder 56 conductors all around the board just to read and write this thing. I mean, I can work this package off the board. I can read and dump it, and we can rework this package back onto the board in maybe 10 or 15 minutes. At the very most. So I don't understand the 56 conductor soldering, but I do understand the clips, and I'm for them. Thumbs up. I'm for them and I support them, but there are times when you just can't get a good read, and you certainly can't get a good write, or in Bob's case here, you just have problems with the module itself, and you need to extract data, and you need to try to reconstitute the memory and rebuild it so that things will function again. So when you're in a situation like that, in my opinion, a programmer is the best alternative. And I have two here actually that I want to talk about. The one on the left is very typical and very expensive. This is a really nice universal programmer, and it has all of these nice interfaces for VGA and HDMI to do in-circuit programming on television sets. It also has this nice in-circuit programming interface here, which makes it a fairly comparable and very well-tuned programmer. Now, this DIP module here, there are sockets and there are extensions made for this. So if we wanted to program this TSSOP 56, the only thing we would have to do is just plug the adapter board in here, lock the ZIF module down, and we'll just take our NAND memory, or NOR memory, excuse me, we'll just drop it in this ZIF socket. Make sure it's pretty well centered. Push the connectors down, push them back up. It's locked. This is ready to read. This is going to set you back a lot of money, or it can set you back a lot of money. But I have another solution, and I have another suggestion for you. If you want to use a programmer specifically for PS3, Xbox, maybe even Wii, sort of low-level repairs, this is the FlashCat USB export. And I bought this from Embedded Computers. This is a $30 parallel programmer that supports all kinds of memory modules. I've actually been talking to one of the developers to incorporate all of the PS3 flash modules, both NOR and NAND. I've been working kind of closely with them on that, and guess what? Super awesome customer service, and in a matter of like a week and a half, I've got PS3 support on this little cheap device. So if you're wanting to spend, $70 or $70 or less, you can't beat this thing, and it's super fast. So having said that, if you want to read or write to a TSSOP 56, they have these adapters. Now, this is a TSSOP 56 Type A adapter, and that simply interfaces to the main flash USB board like that. The memory module, and you'll notice the little dot here, this references pin 1. So when you grab your memory module, you'll just want to make sure that you have pin 1 aligned with that. You just gently launch it in there. Push the plunger down. Make sure it's well aligned. This is for the most part self-aligning. Lift up. You plug this baby in, and you're ready to both read and write. So I'm going to do that now. But I just wanted to talk about programmers. You don't have to. The point of talking about it is just to say you don't have to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars to have a competent programmer if you're doing PS3 or even 360 repairs or anything like that. $60 or $70. That'll cover the programmer, and that'll cover the interface adapter. Less than $100, guys. You can have something really nice. So if you do have a clip, or if you do have a teensy, you can bit bang the hell out of it. Just know that that's going to take a really, really long time to both read and write. With even this little cheap device right here, you're talking maybe a couple of minutes to read and write, and then verify the data. So I just, I can't recommend this enough to people who are actively doing these. It's an excellent utility to have. The clips are great, the teensies are fine, but sometimes you need a real fast dump, or you need to get as much information off this as possible. And if something is compromised on this, as far as like a couple of block sectors or something like that, you really need a real programmer to really get in there so you can look at the data. So having said that, I'm going to go ahead and fix this if I can, and then we're going to go back to the PS3, and I'm going to show you how to rework this package back onto the board. Let's do it. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to work this package back onto the main board, but the first thing that I need to do is I need to prep the site by cleaning all of the current solder from the pad landings here, so that we have a nice, even, smooth substrate to work the package back on. So to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of my Goot wick, which is what I like to use, and I'm going to just introduce just a little bit of flux paste to the end of it here. That'll promote really good wicking from the solder to the main board into my copper braid here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to apply, start on the edges just like you see here. I'm going to take my soldering iron and I'm just going to start pushing in just like this, and I'm going to start lifting the solder just like this, and I'm not putting any force. This braid is just drifting. You don't want to lift any pads here, so it's important not to pull the braid, but just to sort of move it along its way, and let sort of just your hand guide it, because we're not pulling anything off of the board here. Just like that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to I'm going to cut this just a bit here. I want to make one more pass. There we are. Just go straight down, nice and slow, just like that. Just like that, nice and slow. Atta boy. Great. That side's done. Let's move to the right side. Nice and sweeping, smooth motion. Okay. I'm going to cut my braid again. Apply a little more flex paste to the braid, and we're just going to make one more small pass. Starting from the top and just going all the way down, nice and slow. The second pass is always much smoother. Okay. Okay, let's clean this spent and unspent flux off the board. I'm just going to use isopropyl alcohol and plunge an ESD-friendly brush into that IPA. And we're just going to come in here. We're just going to make some light little passes here. I'm just going to clean that off, real gentle, be really gentle with it. Just take maybe 10 seconds just to clean the area. I think that's good, and look at that. Perfect landings, everything looks great. We're ready to work the package back on, so let's do it. Okay, so I turned the exposure down on the camera just so you could kind of see better without the brightness blooming everything out. But as you know, we've cleaned the package side here, so the footprint is ready to go. And I'm just gonna jizz some no clean flux onto the main board here. And after I do that, I'm just gonna take my chip. I'm gonna take this TSSOP package, and I'm just gonna, sorry if I bumped the camera there, I'm just gonna kind of work it here into place. See if I can get a hold of it. Atta boy, and we're just going to bring it down in here very gently. And we're going to start lining it up. Now this is very, very simple as long as you pay attention to what I call the four corners of the world here. Right, and that's what I want right there. Okay. So I've pretty much got that corner mounted where I want it. I'm going to take my soldering iron, and I've got a little solder loaded up on here. I'm just going to come in here into this joint. I'm going to tack it in. I'm going to tack it in just like that. So now we have one corner tacked in. We can work on alignment for the rest of the chip. And we do that just by kind of gently swinging things in and out. So the right side still has excellent alignment going all the way down. Let's just look at the left side. And the left side's looking really good too. Let's see if we can't make just a minor adjustment here. Maybe like that. Up just a bit, up just a bit, up just a bit. 1, 2, 3. I'm really anal about this. Perfect. Okay. So we've got the left side looking really good too. I want to tack in the bottom corners. With my soldering iron. So I'm just going to come in here like this. I'm just going to introduce a little solder here to the corner.
Perfect. Okay, I'm actually going to zoom out just a bit here. You know what? I might not even need to zoom out. I want to bring this head at an angle. I think that's a pretty good shot. And I want to drag solder this, and I want to show you how I do that. So, you know, we've already got a pretty generous amount of flux on there, but, you know, the more the merrier, as my great-grandma Ethel always used to say. So I'm going to introduce just a little more flux in there. I'm going to line this out, and I'm going to take my tip, and I'm going to show you this. I want to take my tip right here, so I can get it nice and flat. There's my tip, and I'm just going to bring and introduce a drop, just a drop of solder. And I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to see if I can't get my tip out of the way of the camera. And I'm going to come in here, and I want to start working this solder in. I want to start by just initially doing a sweeping technique, just as you see here. And I'm just going to start rolling down now. Just going to start rolling down. I'm not putting any pressure on the pads. As a matter of fact, the soldering tip is making very, very light contact with the pads themselves. So I'm going to make a few more passes here. Okay, looking excellent. Okay, now we may have a few little bridges here. If you look in this area, there might be a little bridging. We can easily work that out. You should never have to use wick to work out bridges. Just use some common sense here. So it's just the distribution of heat and solder. That's what the game is. So we're just going to come in here. And we're going to do just that. We're going to distribute heat and we're going to distribute solder all in the fine areas and crannies and crevices. Now that's a pretty good rough in. But what you can do is, if you want to make one more good pass on that, is just apply a little more flux. Just like that. Take your tip, advance it in, try to keep it as parallel as you can, and just work yourself down the way. Back and forth. Back and forth. After you get that good rough in, just go back and forth for an adequately proportioned reflow. And look at that. Okay, we'll start again by applying just a drop of solder to our tip. And then we'll come in here flat as we can. And we'll start heating. Now, I showed you before the sweep technique. I'm going to show you just the straight up drag reflowing technique that I like to use. So I'm just going to come in here and I'm just going to start working the solder into the joints. Just like that, back and forth. And this is as fine pitch as we can get here, so you know, don't be upset if you make some if you have some bridging here. It's not a big deal if you do. And just like that, let me make a few more little passes here. There we are, and just like that, focus, damn you, you're all finished. Alright guys, well that pretty much concludes the whole tutorial here. You know, we worked this surface mount TSSOP package off of the board. I did some things off camera to fix the memory here, and we worked it back on. You know, the whole point here was just to show you some really simple techniques with some very inexpensive tools. Excuse me. But to finish this off, what I like to do is I'll take just a little isopropyl and my toothbrush, once again, an ESD-friendly toothbrush, and I'm just going to come in here and I want to clean off some of this residual no clean. It's absolutely harmless. It's not caustic. It's a very low solid no clean, but nonetheless, I know it's there and I just like to get rid of it. So, having done that, we're all finished. Take care for now.